Taking some time this morning. We'll get started with questions in the chat for quarterback Rocky Lombardi as Michigan State gets ready to take on number 3 Ohio State this Saturday in Spartan Stadium at noon. We'll start with Chris Delary, the Detroit Free Press. Chris.
Hey, Rocky, good to see you. Looking at back at last week, I guess what was the difference for you in the run game? I mean, how much did you know coming in you were going to be using your legs, and how much of it maybe was improvised just within the construct of what you saw?
Yeah, I'd say that most of it was in the game plan, and I knew that I was gonna, have to run a little bit, and obviously depending on how the defense, reacted to what plays we were calling. But I knew that there was a possibility that if they gave us the right looks, I was gonna use my legs. So that was good, and then the rest of it was just impromptu, just doing what I can, trying to extend plays and trying to extend drives.
Looking back at it, how much do you think that helped the rest of the run game, being able to get out and be a threat like that to help Connor get his yards?
Yeah, I definitely think it gave us a little boost for sure. It kind of takes one of their guys out of the box to have to defend me or at least honor me on a fake, just to prove that I could run last week. So definitely helped the run game a little bit, but I think most of it is just credit to those guys up front and credit to Connor for running real hard.
Next question will go to Matt Wenzel with MLive.
Hey, Rocky, with the obvious uncertainty this week with Ohio State canceling last week, you guys went through this before just a couple of weeks ago. How much does having been in almost pretty much the same situation recently help you guys going through this week as you prepare for the unknown?
Yeah, it definitely helps us, I guess, just because we've been in this situation before. We kind of know what we're doing, but at the same time, it's nothing that we can control, so we're not even really going to focus on it. There's really no point in debating whether we're going to play or not. It's not going to help us, so we're just going to treat it like it's a normal week. And obviously this is a good team, so we just got to prepare like we're going to play.
And this would be, if you guys do play, I think your third straight top 10 opponent. Split the last two. Obviously a big challenge with Ohio State, your first start against them. How much you guys looking forward to the opportunity to follow up a big win with, obviously, another tough opponent coming? Yeah,
we're definitely excited. Everybody who came here to play the best team in the Big Ten. We didn't come here to beat out the worst team in the Big Ten. We came here to beat the top dogs and to compete with the best in the country. So, it's a good opportunity. We've been looking forward to this now for a while. So excited to go out there and play and, show the country what we're about.
Thanks, Rocky.
Our next question will go to Brandon Green with ABC 12 at Flint.
Hey, Rocky, just wanted to ask you, do you feel after last week's performance that you have a firm hold on the starting quarterback position?
To be honest with you, I'm not really worried about that. I talked a little bit about it last week, and for me, it's just about competing with myself and making sure that I'm getting better each and every day. I don't really like to compare myself to other people, whether it's teammates of mine or people outside of my team. For me, it's about how can I get better and how can I make the team the best it possibly can be.
Our next question will go to Matt Charbonneau with the Detroit News.
Hey, Rocky, it seems like in most of your starts, at least throughout these last couple of years, you haven't really had that running game to rely on like you did this weekend and this past weekend. And it feels like, or talk to me about how much of a comfort that is to have that, even when maybe you're not hitting every pass like you'd like, but that you've got at least that to fall back on. You haven't really had that very much at all through your career. What was that like on Saturday?
Yeah, it was awesome, especially not so much for me. I mean, it was great for me, but for the team, we've been struggling with our run game for, a long time, and to finally get a game where we're running all over the field. And, I think we had 207 yards gained rushing or something like that. So that was awesome. Big confidence boost for our line, for our running backs. We had great blocking on the perimeter by receivers and tight ends. So it was a really good team effort to get that run game going, and obviously helps the team out offensively.
What does it feel like too? And is there a different feeling in the huddle when you guys are able to do that as opposed to weeks where you're struggling to find any running room?
Yeah, a little bit. We actually don't huddle, so there's not much of that. But there's definitely a different feeling on the sidelines where you can tell the O-line's, up, and the O-line knows that, we're controlling the line of scrimmage. So it's definitely a big confidence boost for them, and it gives them motivation to keep pushing forward.
Thanks.
Next question is from Audrey Dahlgren with WLNS.
Hey, Rocky, just based upon, I guess, how everything transpired in the game versus Northwestern, how much are you guys looking forward to potentially hoping to play, just based upon maybe the momentum and just how good of a game you guys had? I mean, how would you like to seize this opportunity, in a sense, playing a team like Ohio State off of what you guys did last week or last Saturday?
Yeah, well, regardless of the outcome last week, we'd obviously be excited to play Ohio State. It's a great opportunity. They're a great team, one of the top teams in the country, and then they've proven to be one of the top teams in the country over the last 3, 4, 5, however many years you want to say it. But it definitely helps coming off a good game last week. We got a little bit more momentum, and the team's feeling better. So any advantage we can have, we'll take it. But at the same time, you got to treat every week the same. So it's just prepare. Know your keys, know your defense, know your offense, and go out there and do the best you can.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Stephen Brooks with 24/7 Sports.
I'm sorry. Hey, Rocky. Going back to that running game, what's the key to sustaining it moving forward? And what's the key to continuing that? And what parts of the Northwestern game and what you guys did there you think are sustainable long term for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that you guys saw last week, we can do every week. And, I don't understand why we can't. So for us, it's just about, make sure we communicate on the offensive line, making sure that we're blocking the right guys, that everybody's communicating and working together. We can't have two guys blocking the same guy, or we can't have, guys missing blocks and getting the spot changed and stuff like that. So it's really just about communicating, make sure we're all on the same page, and then from then it's just executing technique.
Was the film review for this one in a group setting, was that kind of a fun one to go over to see some of those guys have some success?
Yeah, definitely. It was a good one. Anytime you have a film session after a win, it's good. But I think we also saw that we left a lot of points off or on the field, and that there's a lot of things that we can still clean up and even improve further, and hopefully make this team even better.
Thank you.
Next question will go back to Chris Solari with the Detroit Free Press.
This is a bit of a hypothetical here, but I mean, the Big Ten obviously has changed some rules since the beginning of the year. If you guys had to change course and prepare for another opponent late in the week, whether it's Maryland you've already done some prep for, or Northwestern, how quickly do you think you guys could make a quick turn on a different opponent?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I mean, that's something I don't think anybody's really ever done before, as far as I know. I know we haven't done it, so it's something that's so far out of my imagination. I can't even put myself in those shoes. For me, it's just taking it one day at a time, one play at a time. So I'm trying to live in the present as much as I can, and to to think about that is just it's so far fetched for me. I can't even really give you an answer.
Does having and I asked, I think, Coach Tucker this the other day. I mean, having gone through this once, how much does that help you a second time to maybe prepare for some of the uncertainties that are there?
Yeah, I mean, it helps us a little bit, but at the end of the day, you prepare to play, and if you don't play, you don't play. So I mean, there's really nothing to prepare for not playing. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like you prepare to play. If you play, you play. Then you're ready. And if you prepare to play for the week and then you don't play in the weekend, you just don't play in the weekend. So, at the end of the day, it's just following the same process and doing the same weekly plan. And, if it doesn't work out over the weekend, it doesn't work out. It's nothing we can do.
We have time for a couple more. We'll go to Patrick Murphy with Ohio State 24/7 Sports.
Hey, Rocky, you mentioned the challenges of this week and not knowing, but I'm more curious about looking at Ohio State. Obviously, Buckeyes didn't play last week. 2 weeks ago, defense is decimated a little bit against Indiana. When you have such little film on a team, especially a defense like Ohio State's, how do you kind of view that? And given that they had a week off here to try and get right?
Yeah, it definitely is. The more film you have on a team, the better idea you got of what they're going to do. So obviously they don't have quite as many games as some of the other teams, or not quite as many as they would have had if we would have had a normal season. But there's really nothing we can do about that. So we're going to take the film we got and we're going to make the most of it.
And just what do you see from that defensive group?
Yeah, I mean, they're a solid group. They're a solid group every year. They got loads of talent. They got talent in the secondary. They got talent at the linebacker levels, D-line. I think they've had the same linebacking core for 12 years. It seems like. I don't know if those guys are ever going to leave, but they're all good players and fun to play against. So they're going to give us all we can handle, and hopefully we do the same.
We have time for a couple more before Xavier Henderson joins us. Go back to Matt Wenzel with M-Line.
Hey, Rocky, we already touched a couple times on your running ability this past week, and I think after the game you'd mentioned not trying to do too much mentally. But when you look back at the film, was there anything else that stood out from the Northwestern game versus the last couple outings, which obviously didn't go as you wanted?
I think I did a little bit better job this week of throwing the ball away. Not getting it, not trying to do too much with my arm and put myself into bad situations. But for me, I had quite a few throwaways that I felt pretty confident about, where nothing was there, got outside the pocket, and now instead of either turning the ball over or taking a sack, and now you're 2nd and 15, you're 2nd and 10, and it's just way more manageable. So just small steps like that are going to allow this team to continue to get better and continue to improve and make steps in the Big Ten.
And the early strike to Jalen down the sideline, like a perfectly placed ball. You get a big play like that early, which we've seen a couple times before for you guys this season, especially the Michigan game. How much does something like that early in the game really build your confidence in moving forward and what you can do?
Yeah, it's awesome, and it definitely builds your confidence. But really more than anything, it's a huge momentum swing. We haven't had a ton of very long touchdown plays since I've been here, so to crack a big one like that, or like we had against Michigan, it's it's exciting and it's fun, and you get to watch it on film the next day, and so it's big for us, and we enjoy making those plays. But more than anything, it's a momentum swing for not only our offense but our defense as well.
Thanks, Rocky.
Thank you.
We have time for two more. We'll go to Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch, and we'll finish up with Rico Cooney.
Hi, Rocky. Probably in contrast to Ohio State's linebackers, a lot of their secondary hasn't been around as long, and a lot of newer faces in the secondary. What have you seen from just their defensive backs in the season, from kind of what you've watched on film of Ohio State, kind of in the back end?
Yeah, like I talked a little bit earlier, they're very solid. They got first-round DBs all the time. Arguably DBUs, so they're going to have good players in the secondary. We're not going to overlook that, but obviously Sean Wade's got a lot of attention, and Seven's done a good job this season, and both their safeties are solid players as well. So we just got to go out there and execute our stuff. It's really not about them. It's about us. So we just got to make sure that we're on the same page and doing the best we can.
Last question for Rocky. We'll go to Rico Cooney with Spartan Magazine.
Hey, Rocky, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Thanks. Hey, obviously in practice, you get to see guys and you get to go up against guys. And Naquan Jones, you look back on the Northwestern game, he was really disruptive. Even if he didn't get a lot of tackles, he was very disruptive. Talk about what it's like in practice going up against a guy like that, to be that big and have the footwork that he has and actually the quickness that he has.
Yeah, no, we get a lot of really good players on defense. So to go against them every week, it gives us a lot of confidence, because we know how good those guys are, so if we can move the ball on them, or we can make plays on them, there's no reason why we couldn't make plays on anybody else in the Big Ten. You talked about Naquan, who's, for being so big, he is so explosive and so quick. He's got some real natural talent that's tough to match. It's tough to teach. So, and then on top of that, you got Antoine, who's so instinctive and physical and plays fast. And Shaq, who is one of the best cover corners in the country, as you guys have seen on, through PFF and all that. So, to play against those guys every day really gives us confidence to make plays on guys on other teams, regardless of how good or bad people think they are.
Thank you.
Rocky, that's all the time we have. I know you got to get rolling, so appreciate the time.
Thank you.